Hello and welcome to the channel. The Supreme Court will sit again today to continue the hearing on the deadline of the old naira notes case brought to it by Kaduna, Kogi and Zamfara states against the federal government. Nigerians all over will keep a keen eye on this one and hope that a favorable judgment is meted out at the hand of precedents that will help to reduce the current challenges a lot of them are facing owing to the scarcity of the newly redesigned notes of 200 naira, 500 naira and 1000 naira. The crisis doesn't look to be slowing down even as elections is barely 3 days away. There have been violent protests across some states, which has led to the talk of the election getting postponed. President Buhari, despite pleas from various quarters to ease the sufferings of millions of Nigerians to allow both the old and new notes coexist, remain adamant. So the Supreme Court seems to be the only hope for Nigerians as it is, as a favorable ruling which we hope, if given, the federal government will comply, unlike the last time, will go a long way in setting things straight again. Subscribe, like, share and comment. Thank you. Naira crisis. Cash-strapped Nigerians bank on Supreme Court as hearing resumes today. As the Supreme Court today, Wednesday, resumes hearing on the old naira note deadline suit between some state governments and the federal government, Nigerians, especially consumer and business groups, as well as professional and trade unions, are looking up to the apex court for a favorable judgment that they expect will ameliorate their suffering. The Supreme Court had on February 8 restrained the federal government from implementing the February 10 deadline for swapping the old naira notes with new ones, but the Central Bank of Nigeria refused to shift the deadline. The injunction was sequel to a suit filed by Zamfara, Kogi and Kaduna state governments against the Attorney General of the Federation on February 3rd. Other states including Lagos, Ondo, Ekiti, Kano, Sokoto, Ogun and Cross River have also joined the suit as co-plaintiffs. But the crisis between the governors and the president, Major General Muhammadu Buhari, retired over the Naira redesign initiative, worsened last Thursday when the president in his nationwide broadcast ignored the apex court order by extending the validity of the old 200 naira notes while insisting that the old 500 naira and 1000 naira remained illegal. Buhari further stated that the whole 200 naira note will be legal tender till April 10, 2023, while urging Nigerians to deposit their whole 500 naira and 1000 naira notes with the central bank. Insisting on the order of the apex court, the governments of Kaduna, Ogun and Sokoto states, however, said the people in their states should continue to use the whole naira notes as legal tender until the Supreme Court delivered its final pronouncement on the case pending before it. On Sunday, the All Progressives Congress National Chairman, Senator Abdullahi Adamu, and the National Working Committee of the party met with 12 APC governors and in a communique after the meeting admonished the CBN and the Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami San, to comply with the order of the apex court. The Punch reports that no fewer than 13 persons have died in protest provoked by the shortage of the new naira notes across the country. Also, at least 12 states have witnessed protest as a result of the policy. Speaking with the Punch on Tuesday, the national president of the National Union of Banks, Insurance and Financial Institution Employees, Anthony Agbakba, expressed the hope that the apex court would give a ruling that would stop the incessant attacks on bank employees. He said, "There is nothing much. The fact remains that the Supreme Court judgment supersedes every other power in Nigeria. Its supremacy and of course its verdict must be upheld. So whatever it is, we know for sure and we are optimistic that the Supreme Court will not allow the masses to continue to suffer the way we have been suffering. All of us are suffering and facing it. So I don't think it will rule against the masses, and that is our own expectation as a union and as an organized labor union. We are sure the Supreme Court justices cannot compromise because they know their onions. Also speaking, bank customers under the aegis of the Bank Customers Association of Nigeria said they hoped the Supreme Court would give a ruling that would get the federal government to obey its earlier judgment, thereby saving Nigerians from the naira mess. Subscribe, like, share, comment, and please turn the notification bell on. Thank you. The president of the Bank Customers Association of Nigeria, Dr. Uju Ogubunka, said, "Well, I believe that the court should uphold its earlier ruling. If not, we will just mess up the supremacy of the judiciary." When you have the Supreme Court take a decision and we turn around and disobey it or obey it partially, that's not the best for the nation, and it portends an ill wind no one can stop when it starts blowing. If I had my way, I believe that the Supreme Court will uphold its decision and from there we can move forward, except there is anything of national interest that will make it impossible for them to do so. Also speaking, the chairman of the Nigerian Association of Small and Medium Enterprises, Lagos State Chapter, Dr. Adams Adebayo, said the whole 500 naira and 1,000 naira have lost their legitimacy in the eyes of the public, such that even courts are rejecting them. Lawyers and litigants were yesterday prevented from filing court processes at the Lagos High Courts as officials insisted they would only accept new naira notes. Our expectations as small business owners are that the Supreme Court should reverse the status quo and allow both the old and new notes to be accepted as legal tender to reduce the tension and save the lives of the innocent citizens. On its part, the Director General of the Nigerian American Chamber of Commerce, Gbenga Adebija, submitted that it was important for the Apex Court to consider the facts of the case and deliver an unbiased verdict that would benefit Nigerians. According to him, it is required that all the parties in the case pursue their prayers to the courts based on the interest of the general public and not partisan or sentimental interests. He said, "Our hope is that all the parties concerned have the interest of the country at heart. We hope that the court looks at the matter very well and delivers its judgment without bias, that they will do what is right and what will be for the good of Nigeria and Nigerians." That's the news, guys. Thanks for listening. Until next time, bye.